Alright, welcome to Steve's Vintage Model Builds tonight, Sunday night, the week before Christmas. And we got part 3 of the year-end review and stash show. This episode's going to be about the ships, and there aren't a lot of them, but we do have a very special presentation and review at the end, so I hope you'll stick with me. Thanks very much for everyone who joins me. Thanks to my subscribers, I really appreciate it, and I can't say enough about how much I appreciate the time that everyone spends with my channel, whether it's short or long. Before anything, a shout out to Terry again at Hobby Barn. He's back home from the hospital. Hope he's, he's soldiering on. And appreciate all the thoughts and prayers and good wishes that I've seen for him. And just keep it coming, because those things really do make a difference. All right, so here we go. Two things here to start. The build underway Akagi, the Hasegawa, Japanese Imperial Navy Akagi 1700 waterline series from Hasegawa. Nice kit. Instructions have been a bit of a challenge. I'm used to Tamiya, or as I've recently been told by my Japanese friends, Tamiya. But just like R's and L's, I have a problem with maybe Tamiya. Anyways, so I'm going to keep going with Tamiya. I think everybody knows what I mean. Nice kit. A little problems with the fit, as you can see here, with the putty. With the waterline series, they also include this this metal weight, which is nice. I suppose if you wanted to and did it right, you could float them, although they have no keel. But also a good idea for if you're just setting them on the shelf. You know, if the if the furry beast happens to encroach upon your shelf, it might not end up being a total disaster. Oh, speaking of which, secure your shelves and check the securement. I think we had a disaster there with Max's models, where he opened up the room and the shelves had fallen over and a lot of really nice models were wrecked. So that's a real shame. And of course, here on Vancouver Island, on the west coast of Canada, we do get the occasional earthquake, so it's important to secure your stuff. Okay, so this is underway. First big ship I built since the Moskva back in the 70s. That would have been the old Moskva, not the new one that the Ukrainians without a navy sent to the bottom of the sea. And so yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle. There's a lot of little tiny boats and tiny details, but so far doing okay, I think. There's going to be some sanding at the end. Fit issues, not just theirs, but mine. And we've got some other pieces here that I've completed, getting ready to go. And just waiting for the OCD force to be especially strong. But through the worst of it, I think. And looking forward to moving through the build. Next is this is Tamiya, O-class destroyer. And this was the first ship I built when I started ordering models last July. I think I've done pretty well with it. It's not perfect. I haven't done the rigging. But nice little kit. You get two O-class destroyers with different decals. Very nice. I think I've done pretty well with it. A few more details to be done. The waterline red or brown. A little bit of rust weathering, things like that. But good to go as it is. This is actually my second go on this this video. Excuse me. The first one, I ran out of space on the computer and it just quit on me in the middle of it. So here we go again. Nothing like a good rehearsal to get things going. Okay, so here's the O-class destroyer 1700 Tamiya waterline series. Nice little kit. Good value. Two ships went together well. No fit problems. And you know, no complaints. Next, viewers of the channel may recognize these. There's a bit of a story behind them. We've got these are Hasegawas as well. 1700 German submarine U-boat, 7C and 9C. Again, waterline series, so they're flat bottom. I like that. They sit on the shelf nicely and work well in dioramas. You don't have to mess around with keels and screws and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, so it started out that I ordered one of these from Amazon. I'm not going to mention the vendor. Otherwise, they've been great. But in this case, you'll hear the story. So I ordered this before I knew any better and paid like 28 bucks. And then after it had been shipped and, you know, a week later or whatever it was, I saw it again on Amazon for 12 bucks. Now, I like a good bargain. And I don't mind paying, but to go from 28 bucks to 12 bucks, that's a bit much. So it wasn't eligible for Amazon Prime return. When I asked about it, they said reach out to the vendor and see what they have to say. If you don't hear back from them within, I don't know whether it was 48 hours, whatever it was, then contact us again. So I reached out to them. I was totally honest. You know, I said, you know, I got this kit. I ordered this kit. Hasn't come yet. This is what I paid. Now I see this is what you're selling it for, and when I get it, can I return it? Well, I didn't get any response. So I contacted Amazon again, and no problem. They said, okay, we'll give you a refund. And I said, okay, great. How do I send back the first kit once I get it? And they said, don't worry about it, just keep it. So I'm like, bonus. I had already ordered the second kit because I figured at the very worst, you know, at least my average cost would be down. And, you know, there's always something you can do with 4 U-boats. So anyways, you know, it arrived, and here it is. One bag. Sorry guys, not even close to worth 28 bucks. But you get the 2 U-boats, and you also get a ship that's been torpedoed in half and sinking. No little barrels or anything like that, but we can deal with that. So anyways, so you get the 2 U-boats, and the torpedoed ship. Both for 12 bucks. Both kits, 12 bucks. Yeah. So, thanks, Amazon. And of the little ship kits, I've saved the best for last. And I talked about this in the last video. This stuff drives me nuts. I wish they could figure out a way to put it somewhere else that it doesn't really matter. But anyways, that's what they do. Okay, so this is the 1700 Waterline Series Japanese military transport set. And nice box art to start with. As you always expect from Tamiya. And you get everything that it shows here. So look at this. You get the landing craft. You get the landing craft troop ship. You get like the equivalent of LCTs or whatever. A mini sub, tanks and amphibious vehicles, troop boats. I mean, shucks. For such a little kit, what you get? And I think this was like $20, $25 max, and it just screams diorama. I mean, beach landing, and I recently got some palm trees of all sorts of different sizes. So I think there's probably going to be a beach landing diorama in the future. Maybe Leyte, Philippines. So anyways, yeah. So there's that. Great little kit. I saw some reviews on it from some really good modelers, and it's simple, not too fiddly, paints up nicely, So, yeah, good stuff. Now we come to the big boys, as it were. No, not this one. This one. Again, Tamiya, 1700 Waterline Series, British battleship, Prince of Wales, Battle of Malaya. Prince of Wales was an awesome warship. Unfortunately, at the Battle of Malaya, it was sunk. And not only was it sunk, it was the first ever ship sunk by air power alone. Torpedo bombers and bombers. So, that was unfortunate. And I think even before the hood, this was the pride of the British Navy. If I'm wrong about that, I'm sure people will let me know. And of course, it was a big blow to the British Navy and to Great Britain in general. You know, it was kind of the beginning of the end of their, hegemony in the Far East. So, don't have a lot of kits here, so we're going to open up some of them and just take a quick look. There's the hull and the base of the hull. They've taped it together. Looks like it fits perfectly. Very nice. Not like the Hasegawa one. There was some trouble with that. Excuse me. But that can be said for lots of other kits of ships. Got bombers, aircraft. This is actually a biplane, and they give you the second set of wings. Another sprue, lots of stuff. Looks like a nice kit. Not too complex, not too many tiny little things that'll drive old people like me crazy. So, very nice. There was one comment from one reviewer about how it was kind of rubbing it in to put the Japanese bombers and aircraft in there. Well, if you're really into authentic dioramas, then that's what you need. So, but nice kit, beautiful ship. Too bad she's at the bottom of the bay now. And since I have Japanese aircraft carrier and the British one, gotta be fair. People who watch this channel know I'm nothing but fair. Here we have the United States aircraft carrier USS Yorktown. Very famous aircraft carrier. I think it was lost at the Battle of Midway. Correct me if I'm wrong. For history buffs, Yorktown is in Pennsylvania, in the United States. And it was the Battle of Yorktown was the final battle in the Revolutionary War, where the colonial troops defeated the British under General Cornwallis and after that they packed up and left. In other words, yeah, it was the last battle of that war. And I've actually been to Yorktown. It's still a naval weapons station and a very historic site. So, lovely ship. We'll open her up here. We got lots of time tonight. We got the the basic hull again, all in one piece, which is super nice. Lots of aircraft to go on the decks. Doesn't look too complex. Everything looks to be modeled nicely. No flash, really, that I can see. Again, they've got the weight. That's going to be a nice build. We'll be back on that. You know, I after struggling with the Akagi, I kind of got turned off the ships. But opening these guys up and looking at them again, I'm starting to get excited. Lots of kits in the stash, as we've seen. And the biggest problem will be figuring out what to build next. And yeah, so I've done a few aircraft, done a few ground vehicles. Going to finish up the Akagi. Kind of go through it on a rotational basis. A lot depends on the mood, and a lot depends on the yin and yang of the obsessive compulsive disorder versus the attention deficit disorder. So, like everything else, it's always a balance. And the next one here, got some real stories about this one. The Revell, this is a 720 scale. Virtually no different from the 700 scale, unless you're using a magnifying glass. And it's it got two models, the Ark Royal itself and the Tribal Class Destroyer. Before we get on to the Ark Royal and talk a little bit about the Tribal Class Destroyers, these were destroyers that were built by the British Navy, and the Tribal Class were all named after indigenous peoples throughout the British Empire. This one was HMS Eskimo. There it is, HMS Eskimo. They were tough little ships, my goodness. This particular ship, HMS Eskimo, actually had its bow blown off in one engagement. Not just the bow, but all the way back to the second gun. But she stayed afloat. There was waterproof door there that held, and she stayed afloat. They eventually towed her back to dry dock. She was repaired and went out to fight again. A Canadian connection to the Tribal Class Destroyers. The most famous Canadian warship was the HMCS Haida. Haida was kind of a general term for the West Coast natives of Canada. There's the Salish, the Squamish, but it's kind of like you know, you say people are British, but there's English and Welsh and all that. So don't give me, yeah. Okay, let's not get into all that stuff. So, anyways, and I live here on Vancouver Island, and north of Vancouver Island is a group of islands that used to be called the Queen Charlotte Islands. One of the most pristine and wild places anywhere. And they've now gone back to name them again their original names, which was Haida Gwaii. So, and the HMCS Haida was the fightingest ship in the Canadian Navy. Lots of engagements, lots of, they sunk lots and lots of German ships. They were in the Battle of the North Atlantic. Excuse me. And at the time, the motto of the Royal Canadian Navy was "Sinking you politely." And so, which is pretty funny. A lot of people don't realize that at the end of World War II, Canada had the third largest navy in the world, only behind Great Britain and the United States, or United States and Great Britain, depending on which way you want to count it. Sadly, our military tradition has deteriorated significantly since then, but in any case, Canada has a fine tradition of naval history, and if you ask anybody even today, Canadians fight like hell. So here we go. Gonna open this up. Oh, another funny thing about this kit. I saw one reviewer who was doing a build, skilled modeler, and he got so frustrated with the Tribal Class Destroyer at one point that he literally stabbed it with his hobby knife right amidships, right down to the mat. He was just, so yeah, I'm not expecting too much from that. But the reviews and builds I saw from the Ark Royal itself were good. Didn't seem to be any real problems. And this comes with the new style Revell instructions, which are very nice, and gives you all the decaling information, everything like that. Again, part of naval history. One of the reasons I got this, it was a good price. 2 ships. And also that the Ark Royal, the aircraft from the Ark Royal were instrumental in sinking the Bismarck. So I thought, that was really cool. Now all I need to do is save my pennies so I can get a Bismarck. Alright, so nice kit. There's criticisms of Revell. Some of the kits are good, some of them are horrible. Some of them are just okay. But I certainly think I can work with this one. And if I have too much trouble with the Tribal Class Destroyer, I'll just substitute it for one of the O-Class Destroyers. The only knock is no biplanes. They show them on the box art, but they don't include them in the kit. Can't really blame them. It was a good price. but, you know, even that, you know, with the Tamiya, Prince of Wales, they managed to figure out the biplanes. But anyways, I'm not going to knock them too much on that. Looks like a nice kit. And if I really want biplanes, I'll figure out a way to get biplanes. I think those were the swordfish. Alright. So we're just up to about 30 minutes. And I expect to be able to keep this down to 45 again. And this is the kit that just arrived today. See if I can adjust this a little bit so you can see most of it without my belly. There we go. Okay, so this just arrived today, and I was really pleased and excited because I had hoped it would arrive in time for Christmas, and I had hoped it would arrive in time for this video. When you know, when the ships I ordered started coming in, my wife, she's Filipina, most wonderful, patient, kind-hearted, warm, tolerant woman in the world, almost. Except for maybe some of our other wives out there. She was like, oh, you know, they're hopeless romantics, both the men and the women. And it was like, oh, why don't you get a Titanic? Well, the main reason I didn't get a Titanic was because most of the kits out there are like so expensive. And, you know, I don't mind spending the money, you know. Yeah, I freely admit, you know, I'm not going to spend $300-400 on a kit. I might spend $100 or $150 on a kit, but it would have to be something really special, kind of like a Qatari or something at that level. So, anyways, this is a Revell kit. They listed it as level 4. Their levels, they're not really difficulty levels. They have more to do with the number of parts. Level 4 is up to 150 parts. My joke is that, you know, it's the level of frustration you'll get with a Revell kit, which isn't really fair, I suppose. But it you know, it's kind of a funny joke, especially for the older kits. Some of them are just dogs. Oh my goodness. But I understand now that they've really stepped up their game, and except for reboxing old kits and, pardon my language, but crappy old kits, and marketing them as new, which I hope they've stopped. Their new kits are, so I've heard, are great. This one is it's excellent because well, there's a few reasons. It's RMS Titanic gift set, includes 6 paints, a paintbrush, and the Revell nozzle cement. And Matt at Model Minutes, Matt at Model Minutes, he swears by this. He thinks it's great. So when I saw it, I thought, yeah, okay, that's good. So not only that, here we go. Get over there. Yeah. So there's actually 2 models, a 1-700 and a 1-1200. The 1-700 has 132 parts, and the 1-1200 has 40 parts. And another big thing for me was the kit was both manufactured in and shipped from Poland, as opposed from some other places that start with C that we don't talk about. So, yeah, good stuff. And $42 Canadian. $42 Canadian. That's what? 5 pounds British? No, I'm just, yeah. Our dollar hasn't turned into the ruble yet. But yeah, I mean, that's like 30 pounds, 32 pounds, something like that. So hard to go wrong, even if the paints are half dried up and not great quality. I've never used Revell paints before, so we'll give them a try. Okay, so because we got some time here, gonna open her up. Actually, I already opened it. Like I said, this is the second go on this. I ran out of space on the computer. I had to delete a bunch of videos or move them over to the external hard drive. So, yeah, here we go. So, here's what we get inside. As you can see, it's a big box. External shipping was great. It was in a thick cardboard box sleeve. Taped up really well. The only thing I'd say about it is the box is a little too big for what's inside. But we'll take a look and see. Got 2 instruction books, not in color, not the new Revell type instructions. One for each. Each model has a stand. Which is especially nice when it's not a flat bottom. Here we are with the paints, glue, and brush. Hard to tell if the paints are still good, but anyways, the squeeze bottle still squeezes, and the brush doesn't look too horrible. So there you go. Here's a nice touch. They give you black thread for the rigging. That wasn't mentioned in the kit description. Nice decal set. There's another one in here somewhere. I'm not going to go digging around for it now. Okay, so we'll start with the 11200. And this is very nice. Single. Let me see if I can get some better light here going on this. Yeah. Without too much glare. Yeah. Nice detail. You don't have to worry about gluing it together. There's some flash and molding stuff here. But it's on the bottom. No big deal. Very easily sanded off. This one has the propeller rudder already molded in. But very nice detail with the windows, everything. The rest is molded in white. Got the stand parts, a couple other miscellaneous parts. The base of the stand. This is kind of, there we go. deck, etc., etc. Steam stacks. Bow and stern pieces. Well, I guess this is the main deck. Anyways, nothing to complain about. Virtually no flash. Nothing I can see yet, though. Maybe a little bit on those steam stacks. Pretty good quality. Looks good. Manufactured in Poland. Okay, then we move on to the big boy here, or the big girl. The hull comes in 2 parts. Again, great detail. Even with all these little windows and stuff, there's no flash. Looks like a little piece broke off here, but it's not. I mean, I think it's just a, what do you call it, a sprue post. Yeah, it's just a sprue post. So, everything good there. What are we doing for time? Okay. So we'll pull this out. Good detail, lots of parts, but it's a big ship, and nothing that looks too frustrating. And again, there's the stand base in there. Got an extra bag here, not sure what that's for. Maybe just a dust cover. So we'll tuck these back in. And we'll take a look at the instructions. I'm not gonna go through the 1200 instructions. It looks like a pretty easy build actually, and I watched some videos that went together nicely. So yeah, nice little write-up. The keel of the Titanic was laid on 31st March 1909. About 15 weeks after that of her sister ship, the Olympic. Both liners were built simultaneously and fitted out to the highest levels of elegance and luxury for the period. It was intended that they would both sail in the White Star Line's prestigious transatlantic service. 2 years later, on 31st May 1911, at the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Northern Ireland, the completed Olympic was handed over to their new owners, and Titanic was launched at about 15 minutes after noon that same day. So, although Olympic was started sooner, they were both completed virtually at the same time and handed over. With a length of 269.04 meters and a beam of 28.19 meters, with a gross registered tonnage of 46,329 GRT. Navy people tell me what GRT means. I'm thinking gross rated tonnage, but could be wrong. She was bigger than any ship built before, and by 1912 was recognized as the largest ship in the world. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. Put this here so you can see the picture. Always a work in progress here at Steve's Model Build channel, especially on Sunday night after a nice dinner and a glass of wine. So initially, Captain Edward John Smith took command of the Olympic, but later joined Titanic for her maiden voyage, which began on Wednesday, 10th April 1912, when she set out from Southampton. And Southampton was also her official registration. Ominously, as she was maneuvering out to sea, she only just missed the New York that was moored in the harbor. Oops. Titanic next called at Cherbourg, France, and then Queenstown, Ireland, before making her way to New York, USA. The crossing proceeded without incident until Sunday, 14th April, when at about 23:40 hours ship's time, the lookout bell rang out iceberg warnings. The ship brushed an iceberg on her starboard side and sank 2 hours and 40 minutes after the collision in the icy waters of the Atlantic. Only 712 people survived the catastrophe, and Captain Smith went down with his ship. At the time, it was the greatest maritime disaster ever, and it shocked the entire world. In addition, it was learned, two major things were learned. First, that in spite of numerous iceberg warnings, Captain Smith did not order the ship to reduce speed, ostensibly because they were trying to make a speed record across the Atlantic to New York. The other thing was that as a result of the disaster, about the iceberg, yes, it was kind of kind here for them to say that the ship brushed an iceberg. They hit the iceberg and it peeled a gash in her like a can opener. Below the waterline. It's easy to, go back and criticize. But certainly, if the ship had been moving slower, and had heeded the warnings of the icebergs, the disaster wouldn't have happened. So the other thing that came out of it was that it was found that the Titanic was woefully inadequate when it came to lifeboats, and there weren't nearly enough for the people on board. And so it brought about significant reforms to the shipping industry that required the appropriate number of lifeboats. Of course, there was also the hubris of thinking that the Titanic was unsinkable. although she had multiple watertight doors, they didn't go from the bottom of the ship all the way up to the top. So when water started to come in, even though watertight doors were closed, it started overlapping, and basically, like dominoes, they just filled and filled and filled. She went down by the bow, broke in half on her way down. Another note is that although we all see 4 steam stacks on the ship, there were only 3 that were operational. I believe it was the rear one that was just for show. I guess they thought, well, I mean, you look at the design of the ship, and yeah, 3 steam stacks would look kind of weird. So they put the 4th one in. Okay, so we're going to rate the kit. My kit ratings are up on the community of the channel. I also made a video of it. There's 10 standard points. Packaging is 2 points. Sprues are 2 points. Parts are 3 points. Instructions are 3 points. There's a quarter-point bonus for each category for quote-unquote wow factor. And there's an additional full point, up to a full point, that I rate for value based on overall quality and how many hours of enjoyment I can expect to get out of it relative to the cost. Any after-build reviews will be overall impressions and will be rated as poor, fair, good, excellent, or outstanding. As always, everything I say on this channel, unless I state it as an historical fact, these are my opinions only. I always try to be fair and unbiased, but awarding and deducting points is always subjective. So for packaging, I'm going to give it 1.75. I'm going to take off a quarter point because the box is way too big for what's inside. That just invites trouble. Otherwise, everything was perfect. Find my pencil here. Okay. As far as the sprues were concerned, everything looked beautiful. All the parts were attached. There was hardly any flash. No molding bubbles, nubs, recesses, anything weird like that. Everything looked to be complete. So full 2 points there. The parts, hard to tell the quality of plastic, but it looks pretty good. Nicely detailed. No warped or broken parts. There were no masks or PE or aftermarket parts, but the decals look sufficient. So that's a full 3. Oh, the instructions. Huh? They're not in color, but they are the new Revell style. Gives you all the details. You get a nice sprue map here. Tells you when to wait. Yeah, you gotta wait when you put that together, preferably overnight. Everything goes through step by step. Not complicated, you know, they're pictorial instructions. So they're non-lingual. give you they give you very much, they give you a lot of detail here on spacing and gluing. All the, all the directions look clear. They've highlighted things that need to be highlighted. Take it through step by step. Looks a bit busy in some spots, but really, it's not. If you really take a look at it, take your time to look at it. Yes, there's a lot of parts, but it's pretty clear about how they go together and where they fit. We'll be under an hour here. I appreciate everybody's time. And again, we've got the steam stacks, all the different little ancillary parts, all the way through. One thing I like is, the boats are already there. You don't have to fiddle around with them. And here we are at the end with a beautiful side view and paint scheme for all the different parts. So, very nice. I'm going to give those instructions 2.75. Just a quarter point off for no color. It would be nice, but hey, $42. Yeah. Hard to go wrong with that. Bonus points. Well, the value points, I'm going to give that 3/4 out of 1. You get the 2 ships, and the paints, the glue, hard to go wrong. So 3/4 of a point there. Bonus points for the wow factors. I'm going to give it a 1/2 point for the wow factor, because the moldings are so nice, and especially with the 1/1200, they didn't put it in 2 pieces. It's a single piece. You don't have to wrestle with trying to put together. So I'm going to give it 10.75 out of 12. And I think that's the best rating I've given a kit since the new rating system, a total of 12 points. Proof will be in the pudding, building the actual kit. But as I said, from the videos I've seen, no problems whatsoever. So yeah, here we are, just under an hour. Bit longer than I expected, but we did the full kit review. So thanks for everyone for joining me, or thanks to everyone for joining me. I appreciate everyone's time, and Christmas week coming. Going to be putting this up. That'll be the final one in the series of 3. Got a couple other little things here and there. And so thanks for spending time with my channel. Thanks for spending time with me. Everybody's important to me. And Merry Christmas. And take care of each other. Love each other. And stay safe. It's a bad time of year for being out on the roads. So be careful with yourself and watch out for others. Thanks again. And have a great night.